What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my continuing coverage of the 2019 Dallas International Film Festival. I'm Chase Lee, and hey, listen, guys, I love the film festival. You never know what you're going to find. And some of them you could read just on name or premise alone and get super excited about, and you're just wondering where the movie's going to take you. What journey will it take you on? Will it be a journey that you love, maybe a journey that you hate, and you just want to go call the police afterwards because you saw something atrocious? So, this is the ninth film of the film festival. Almost done. I'm only doing 11, so almost there. Finish line is coming up pretty soon. But this is the ninth film, and this is probably the one I was most excited for. And this is Midnight Family. Now, this one is written and directed by Luke Lorentzen. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And this is a film that focuses on the Ochoa family in Mexico City, and they run a private ambulance business. In Mexico City, I think it said in the film there are 45 or fewer government-run ambulances in a city that has a population of 9 million. I mean, I believe that's pretty close to the amount of LA. So imagine if LA had, around 45 or fewer ambulances for the entire city. It would be chaos. So this is a business that is also a competing business around the city. There are a lot of families doing private ambulances around the city, and this is how they make their money. This is how they make their living, and so it focuses on this specific family and the night calls that they go on. You have a father, you have a couple sons, I believe maybe a brother and uncle and all that stuff, and so it's a close family knit business, and this documentary just kind of follows them as they pursue a bunch of night calls and how it affects them, why they do it, and all that good stuff. Now, based on the premise alone, and I love documentaries, so based on the premise, I was like, I'm looking forward to this. I want to see where they kind of go with it. Are they going to, commentate on the health crisis that, kind of goes on in, just the world and how people don't have insurance and all that stuff, and the high prices, and it's an insane business, but unfortunately it is a business and people have to make money, and so it's just the way it goes sometimes. But I was curious to see where they would go. I will say this. I like Midnight Family, but I do think there is a slight on it that I kind of wish they were able to explore a little bit more. So, let me start with some of the positives. I'll work my way down. A huge positive are the actual ambulance calls. They are the type of calls that are filmed in a way that would compete with any like action film or suspenseful film from a big Hollywood feature. They are visceral on an emotional level, suspenseful level, and just pure like kind of action editing to get to their specific calls. It's really fascinating stuff to watch. It's exhilarating to watch them get the call, go to the accident site, pick up these people, and then the emotion starts kicking in because these people are freaking out because they don't have money, or they're badly injured, and they're trying to talk with them, and sometimes it ends well, sometimes it ends poorly, but that's where the kind of like emotional stakes come from. So the actual ambulance calls that they do throughout this entire documentary run are fantastic. Well shot, and just well choreographed to, kind of piece together into what, looks like just a fictional movie. But, this is a real life thing, and this family is, doing these things from start to finish, and that's what we see. That's kind of the problem, though. That's all we see. We see, I think, a total of 4 calls. The last one being definitely the most devastating. We see the 4 calls, and then in between we see them interacting with each other, maybe at home, doing laundry, or maybe at a taco stand eating. We see all that, and that's fine, but that's not enough. That's not enough to justify this whole documentary. They could have made this documentary longer. They could have made it into a mini-series. They could have focused on other families. They could have focused on government-run ambulances to see how they function. they could have focused on, more of the kind of information that they have to exchange with, hospitals and stuff. They could have done a lot more with this, but I felt like there was just some stuff left on the table that they just didn't kind of grab and run with. And what they showed us was great. And, hanging out with this family, they were funny. They were really caring about what they do, but at the same time, it's also a business, and they're trying to feed their family, and sometimes they don't make that much money each night, so they're scraping by, when in reality, they're doing one of the more dangerous jobs there is. So there's a lot to that, but that's as far as it goes. So it's almost like, the director is really violently scratching the surface and can just never poke through to anything else, and it's really just a surface movie. But the surface of it is just so good that I couldn't go anywhere below a B-. I do think this is a B- type of film. There's really nothing more to say. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a very fast movie. Usually documentaries, they're either well-paced or they're really slow as molasses. So I appreciate the kind of well-paced energy that this movie has, because when they're going on these calls, like you're in the zone, you are wanting them to succeed in what they do. I mean, especially when they're outpacing like other private ambulances, it's really fun to watch. I mean, it's a competitive business, and also at the same time, they're trying to get there as soon as possible so they can, clean up the injuries and whatnot. So, yeah, once again, this is not a bad documentary. It does what it sets out to do. I just didn't think it was enough. But what I did see was very interesting indeed. I would love to see like a 4-hour long cut of this thing, or whatever footage they got, to see a longer kind of telling of this family and really kind of get into the meat of maybe their home life a little bit more, and more what they do outside of it and how it affects them on a daily basis when they're not in the ambulance. And, because one of them was a child. One of them, I think, was like 10 or 11 years old, and the other one was like 16. And it's like, these are children, and they're in this family business because they know that if they don't participate, they're not going to be able to eat that night. And so I would love more, like, what they do outside of that. Like, how does it affect their sleep schedule? How does it affect their schoolwork? Their social life? We got a little taste of like what they feel through the 16-year-old. He was saying, we do this because people need it. It's a job opportunity. It opens up job space. So that's why we do it. People need help. So they do it for business purposes, obviously, but they also do it because they care about people. So once again, kind of dive into that a little bit more. So a lot of missed opportunities, but I still think overall I will recommend it because it is documentary subject matter that is not really touched upon. And so it's fascinating on that level. The family's fun to follow. The ambulance calls are really well put together, but that's about it. So a B- for me for Midnight Family. What did you guys think of Midnight Family, or have you even heard of it? Please comment in that playlist right below my face and let me know. And that'll do it for this review, guys. And tune in next time for whatever I review next for the Dallas International Film Festival. I'll see you guys later.